Good morning, this is Bradley Charbonneau from WPU. This morning I'm going to walk through WordPress. So WordPress is a huge content management system, and I am just going to try to touch on the main points that exist in your basic WordPress install, and then we can go into more detail in other tutorials to get to the details. So just to give you an idea, if this is the first time you've ever seen it, this is the WordPress dashboard. I get to this. I logged in at WP admin with my login name and password, and I would get to a dashboard. It might look something like this. Here's a good trick to start off. Up here in the upper right is screen options, and this can let us organize the screen we're on. So if I was interested in the recent comments, I could click it and it would then show up here. If I don't want to look at that, I can get rid of it. I can get rid of a lot of this stuff, but then I want to organize it based on my usage. So I'm going to keep that for now, but these screen options are on every page of the site. So even you're creating a page or a post, and you can use the screen options. Good trick to know. So from this dashboard here, I can get an overview of what's going on right now, my number of pages and posts. I got my stats for the site, what's happening with traffic. And I've got some RSS feeds to other sites, and as you saw in screen options, I can put different things here. I'm just going to go from top to bottom here within 10 minutes and just try to give you a quick overview of what's available here. The quickie is that you're mostly going to be in posts and pages, and of course I'll have other videos highlighting those, but just to give you an idea of what's going on for the full package, I'm just going to go through here for now. Updates next is if there are updates to the plugins or WordPress itself or themes, you can do that here. Since WordPress 3.0, you can feel pretty safe to update software here. So go ahead and do that, unless somebody like me tells you not to do that because of whatever conflict. Next is Jetpack, and this is not standard installed in WordPress, but it basically should be. It's a WordPress product, and it has a whole bunch of little add-ons that you can use. Here's WordPress stats, for example, and notifications. For example, this is where you would set up your Twitter and your Facebook to get the latest post from your website. So have a look through in Jetpack and see what there all is. It's quite a bit of stuff, great stuff in there. The most important actually of Jetpack is site stats. So here's a good overview of your statistics of your site, who's visiting, where they're coming from, how it's not as detailed as Google Analytics, let's say, but it does give you a good overview of what's going on. You got all-time views. You can look by day or week or month, who's referring you, what are they searching for, your top posts and pages, what are they clicking on your site. Good stuff. Akismet, this is a spam prevention tool, and this is what you'll need. You'll need your own key to get into your own spam prevention to have Akismet work for you. Woo Dojo, this is also not part of the standard WordPress install, but it's part of the Woo themes package, and there are some. It's a bit like Jetpack. They have also their items that you can activate and deactivate. Some good stuff in here too. I'm a big fan of Woo, so that's why I have a Woo theme in here and Woo Dojo, but I'm not going to touch on it because I'm trying to just get through the WordPress overview. Which leads us to posts. So the posts are going to be ideally where you'll be most. Posts as opposed to pages. Posts are something I like to say that you can count, or that you're going to have a lot of, for articles or testimonials or blog posts, and something that then you'll categorize. So you can categorize these posts into certain categories, and that can then determine where they'll go on the page. So let's take a quick look into a post. I'm just going to pick one here. And this was uncategorized. The first thing I'll probably want to do is give it a category. And if I don't like the category it's in, I can add a new one right here. There's my new category called right here. And I want to make that the right here category. So in my post screen, and again I'll have other videos that go more in depth here, but I'm going to have your basic area is title, body, category, excerpt. There are a bunch more things here, tags and featured image. But those are the basics. Featured image is important, and that shows up in different places on the site. For example, with this theme, see here for Kuni, that little guy is a featured image. So if I go to that particular post, I don't see it on the post, but it's a featured image. Featured image is sort of like a meta image. So that meta image you can choose here. So if I choose a featured image, I then go pick it from the media library, pick whatever, update featured image, and that then makes that my featured image. So for this post, that would be my featured image. Excerpt is also a very good reminder. Excerpt also shows up in certain places just like the featured image, so it's also a good habit. So again, I'm just trying to run through this. Post, title, body, category, excerpt, featured image. That's good enough for now. I'm going to update because I made a change here to my featured image. I update, which is just like save, and that's it. Over here back on the left sidebar, I have all posts, which will list all of my posts in the site. Add new will let me create a brand new post. Categories show me where these posts are categorized. I can make new ones right here. I also get a nice count of how many posts are in a particular category. Tags are sort of somewhere between posts and categories. You can also tag posts. Maybe they're not as strong as a category. If you have a category that are fruits and vegetables, maybe the tag is persimmon. So, or maybe persimmon is the post. So it can get a little confusing with tag management, category management, post management, but it's all here available for you. Next is media. Media are your images, your PDFs, your videos. Videos can be here, although ideally they're embedded through something like YouTube. You can even edit things here. You can do some minor editing of images, but you can also give it a better title. And you can spell things correctly here. I can also give it a caption, alternative text. I can edit this image somewhat. Let me do some minor cropping, turning things around. I can apply changes to the different parts. So there's some basic editing tools in here. I can add new media here. This one is really nice. I can just drag and drop. I take my picture, I just drag it over, and there it is. So now I dragged and dropped, and now that picture is in my media library. Right there. Moving on, pages. Pages are, unlike posts, they are more static. So about the company, or about you, or table of contents, or something like that. So they'll look just like a regular post. Same thing with sort of a title, body area. They don't have categories because they're not categorized. They do have, you can choose a parent page. So this would then be a parent of this page, a parent like a child-parent relationship. I can also choose different templates for a page, and this one is sort of based on the theme I'm using. I'm using a Woo theme, so it has these different templates. And down next is add new page, add a brand new page. Comments are not to add comments, but to see what comments have been commented on your site. Feedback I'm going to skip because that's part of a Woo theme. Same with slides and portfolio. Those are custom post types, so special parts of a Woo theme. Canvas, I'll show you this for 10 seconds. Canvas, this gives us a gigantic sub-menu of crazy amounts of options here to style and work with our theme, but this is specific only to Canvas. I'm not going to talk about it here. Down to appearance, this is where you choose your theme, and so this is where you can upload new ones. You can select your different ones. Plugins, these are sort of like the apps of WordPress, so this is where you activate, add new, deactivate plugins. Users are who are the users of the site. Tools, Sort of funny this thing is called tools. There's not a whole lot here. Import, export, they're more now and again tools. Settings, good to have a look at this. There are sort of the information about the site, how you can change some settings and change your date and your time zone and stuff like that and how things sort of look. Settings in general here are a bit of how things work, what some sort of defaults, reading, what's the home page. I want the home page to be a specific page, or do I want it to just be my latest posts? I can change that here. Again, these are just sort of options and settings for the different areas of WordPress. And you know what? At that, I see I'm almost at 11 minutes. I'm going to stop. This is, you know what? I skipped one thing. Sorry. I skipped widgets. Under appearance, widgets, these are what live in the sidebars. So I could take this archives, drag it over to the sidebar, save, or maybe I need to put it in primary. I go to the primary archives, I save, and now over here, if I refresh, I get these archives. That's in widgets. This is a whole nother ballgame as well. Menus, this is very important. So this is, you have your pages and your posts and your categories, but what shows up in your primary navigation? So let's say I want to take the widgets on pages and make that into a page. I click, I add to menu, there it is. I want to make it a sub-menu of portfolio. I drag it under, I indent it, it's a sub-menu. I save the menu. Under portfolio, I refresh. Now it's widgets on pages. So, that's it. I'm at 11 minutes. I'm at 12 minutes. I'm going to stop. I will have more detailed videos of this. I just needed to get this overview done, and I can improve it later. So for now, at 12 minutes, this is Bradley Charbonneau for WPU, hoping that gave you something of an overview of WordPress. Bye-bye.